Welcome to the Coalition of Scrubs, and yes, that was all of our collective natural voices singing.
Welcome to a Dumpster Fire replays for, I guess you could say, July 2020 here on the Coalition of Scrubs. So this week we have a special Sphinx deck from the old OG Structure deck. It generally runs around Exod, and this deck is so crap. So we're going to be working on a new Dumpster Fire replay setup here. Tell me what you guys think in the comments, and I'll edit it to you guys liking. So we're going to start off. I'm actually going to show you the deck profile first before we go into the replays. I'm not going to narrate the replays. There's going to be some nice music over them. And then we'll just get pretty much straight to the end card and call it a day. So let's get started on that deck profile. Alright guys, here we are at the Dumpster Fire Sphinx deck for July 2020. So sadly, this deck's kind of crap. Like, I went up against some of the worst decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! I lost to Cyberdarks. Like, come on. Sadly, I didn't save the replay because it just wasn't worth saving. The dude kind of, didn't really do much. I didn't end up doing much. So it really wasn't any good kind of content for you guys to really watch. So let me get started on the readout, and I'll explain a little bit about the deck and what choices I would make to change. So to start off, we got one block dragon. Everything in here is a rock, so he's the easiest way to just crap out, get more searches, get a monster that can, just a 3k wall. When you can use him for tribute fodder for any of your larger Sphinx monsters. Then we have one Exod, Master of the Guard. You tribute a Sphinx monster you control. Special summon. It doesn't have to be face up to special summon him. It's also an inherit summon, so they would have to Solemn Judgment it to actually get rid of it. Pretty much he's just a 4k wall. When an Earth monster is flip summoned, you can burn your opponent for 1,000 for each flip summon monster. Then two Hierarcho Sphinx. Your opponent can't target face down monsters with attacks. That's pretty much it. Two Cryo Sphinx. When a monster is returned from the field to the hand, it gets pretty much you force your opponent to discard a card. Three Guardian Sphinx. This is your main way of removal. When he's flip summoned, and it specifically has to be flip summoned, not change face up, not anything like that. Sadly, I thought Junk Sleep would be able to set this card off. It does not. But anywho, you can return all monsters your opponent controls to the hand. It's a great way to just kind of blanket remove everything. I run two Chronomaly Moe Carrier. It's essentially just tribute fodder. That's pretty much all it is. Three Fossil Dyna. Pretty much neither player can special summon, and when he's flip summoned, all special summon monsters on the field are destroyed. I run two Landrobe, the Rock Vassal. When your opponent controls a monster, you can flip it face down to special summon this thing from your hand. So it's pretty much a pseudo Book of Moon, and it's kind of nice. Other than that, it's a Doki Doki target to summon the Pachycephalo. Then triple Doki Doki, because Doki Doki can summon your Guardian Sphinx by discarding the carrier, or you can summon one of your other Sphinxes by discarding said other Sphinx. Two Nemesis Keystone. It recycles anything you banish off a block dragon, or if your opponent calls by the grave something, you can shuffle it back. When this card is banished, you get to add it back to your hand during the end phase of that turn, unless it's hit by called by the grave, of course. Then two Book of Taiyu, two Pot of Extravagance, just draw cards. Book of Taiyu flips a face down monster into face of attack position. Three Book of Moon, three Called by the Grave, one Moon Mirror Shield, just to beat over whatever the heck we can. Three Infinite Impermanence, two Summon Limit, just to slow our opponent down to our speed. Two Lose One Turn, again, just to slow our opponent down. Two Ordeal the Traveler. When your opponent monster declares a direct attack, or actually just in general when they declare an attack, your opponent has to choose a card in your hand, and if they guess it right by card type, so either monster, spell, or trap, nothing really happens. The attack goes through. But if they call it wrong, you get to just kind of bounce the monster back to hand. Junk Sleep, I thought would set off my Sphinx cards, but sadly does not. When your opponent summons a monster, all face down monsters you control are flipped into face up. Other than that, during the end phase, it flips everything back face down, so it resets all your resources, which is kind of nice. The extra deck is just a whole bunch of removal and access code burn, pretty much. Just slap down a bunch of big beaters, but you barely go into the extra deck to begin with. Yeah, this deck sucks. Like, if I were to make any changes, I'd totally throw in Rock Bombardment. It lets you dump the Block Dragon from your deck to deal 500 to your opponent. But other than that, I would say just dump on this deck. This deck died the minute the Structure deck came out. But thanks for joining in. We're going to go on to the replays and enjoy the music, guys.
No one else sees. In the underground, we're living low key. Can give you peace here in your mind. And as I found no place in the dead of night to come alive. Life is waiting on the other side. Follow me into the underground. Watch the world changing as the sun goes down. Follow me into the underground. Follow me into the underground. Follow me into the underground.